Welcome to Arkansas Wildlife. It's springtime in the natural state. Lots of folks are out turkey hunting right now, but it's also a great time to go fishing, and that's exactly what we'll be doing this week. We're headed back up to the White River out of Cotter. Now, we were up on the White a couple of weeks ago and did some trout fishing, but a totally different approach this week. We're going to be fly fishing with an old friend, Christopher Bolden. There's a caddis hatch going on, and you don't want to miss it because the action is fast and furious. You'll notice that we released those trout, but it's okay to keep some fish, and we certainly keep some trout from time to time. And today we're going to take some trout over to Flyway Brewing Company in North Little Rock and let them cook them up for us. Flyway specializes in a lot of game dishes on their menu. They've got sausages made from buffalo, rabbit, duck. They've got venison sandwiches, but today they're going to cook up for us smoked trout nachos. All that and this week's winner of a free hunting and fishing license right after this break. Arkansas Wildlife is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Academy. We're headed out on the White River below Bull Shoals Dam. We put in at the historic Cotter Bridge right there below the bridge, and we're fishing with Christopher Bolden, an old friend of mine who specializes in guiding fly fishermen on the White River. When folks think about fly fishing, a lot of times, the image that comes to mind is a guy in his waders, up to his knees or thighs in the water and wading and casting. But this was a little bit different. We were fly fishing out of a boat. That allows you to do some different things. Obviously, mobility is a big thing. You can move around to different parts of the river. You can drift through an area and, if it's productive, crank up the motor, run back through and drift back through it again. Obviously you're limited. You've got to kind of be careful where you're standing and how you stand. But, in these White River boats like we're fishing out of, it's really not a problem. They're very stable. And I really like fly fishing out of a boat because of the mobility that it affords you, and it allows you to, check various parts of the river in a given day, as opposed to just, walking up a, 200 or 300 yard stretch of the river if you're wading. Some challenges associated with fishing out of a boat. You have to kind of be careful about your line getting, perhaps tangled on things in the bottom of the boat or around your feet or something, whereas if you're wading, the line just sort of floats on the water beside you. But that really wasn't a problem. Christopher has been guiding on the White River for a long time. His boat is totally tricked out and geared up to cater to fly fishermen, so really no problems there.
You want to be looking for just any kind of divot or drop off.
Okay.
Kind of water depth change is good, but that long downstream angle cast and a long drift will probably put you into more fish.
That's going to be the deal, huh?
Yep. And then just remember, the indicator's not going to just jump on you. It's not going to go down in most cases. It's just going to wiggle or pause. And when that happens, just lift up on it. That'll be a fish. On this day, they were running a couple of units out of Bull Shoals Dam, so the water was moving pretty quickly. The advantage of going out with a guide is he knows how to play that water and find the best spots where, certain levels of flow will work in your favor. We started out this day nymphing, using a strike indicator. We were using a dropper rig with a couple of different flies, sow bug and some different nymphs. So kind of trying to different parts of the water column. And the other advantage to that is to see, what
fly do the fish prefer today? If you're getting all your strikes on the dropper or on the upper fly, might allow you to kind of fine tune your presentation and put 2 flies on that are going to be more appealing to the fish. It didn't take long at all to get on some fish. I mean, I think our first drift, we started catching some and really kind of went on throughout the day. Now, conditions did sort of change, but you know, we didn't have any trouble picking up fish. It was one of those days that you really like being on the White River. A lot of fish, a lot of action, some good fish, and good numbers too. Well, that's the way to start the day.
I like that.
Nice, healthy trout, not just giants, but not babies either.
Oh, there he is.
All right.
Fish on, nice. As the caddis start to come off, the fish are going to start keying on them and they're going to get more active and they're going to start feeding heavier. So what you'll notice in the next couple drifts is that the bite should, and I say should, but it should start picking up dramatically as we go down through here.
Arkansas Wildlife is brought to you in part by Zimmerman Sports Center on South University in Little Rock.
See right here, there's a little bar that's starting.
Yeah.
And the edge of that bar, we're going to kind of follow it down through here. And the browns were laying like anywhere you can see open gravel.
I've known Christopher for many years. We've fished together. We've hung out, listened to music together. Both big fans of Robert Earl Keen, and so you know, being in the boat with somebody that is a great guide, but also a good friend that can give you some pointers and you know make you a better angler. That's always a great day.
Just want to kind of make a downstream angle cast.
All right. We tried several spots on the river. You know, we fished right there below the Cotter Bridge quite a bit. Went a little bit farther down to Rim Shoals, a catch and release area that's very popular. Found some bigger fish down there. Didn't necessarily catch all of them that we saw, but had some opportunities to catch some big fish, and that's always exciting as well. One of the keys to fly fishing that I'm sure even if you're not a fly fisherman you've heard is the phrase matching the hatch. And what that means is basically tailoring your presentation, the fly that you tie on the end of your leader or your tippet to match what's happening naturally in that particular system. So that's what we were doing. We were nymphing to start off with a couple of flies, 2 different flies.
We've got a pheasant tail on and we've got a midge on. And the pheasant tail, it doesn't
Both
direct,
pupa stage?
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't really It doesn't look exactly like the caddis pupa, but it's close enough to look like an emerger coming up. So it's just gathering their attention.
The emerging stage of flies, like as they basically hatch and move from a lower depth of the water column up higher, our trout feed on that naturally.
They'll start hitting both flies more and more, and basically it's because they're just getting active and getting on the feed. So the more bugs in the column, more actively they start feeding, the more bites you should get.
It was a little cooler in the morning. You probably noticed we were wearing jackets. As the sun got higher in the sky, it started to warm up. Not only made it more comfortable, but this was right in the middle of the caddis hatch, and we started noticing caddis coming up off the water just all around us. I mean, you could just look out across the water through that sort of haze that's reflected from the sun off the water and just see the bugs everywhere. And so Christopher suggested that we maybe tie on some dry flies and see how that went.
Yep. They're still there. Puppy dog.
It doesn't matter what you're fishing for, bass, brim, catfish, crappie, or trout. When you feel that fish on the other end of the line, there's nothing like it. But especially fly fishing.
That was great.
That connection to the fish is magnified, is how I would describe it.
He fell for the little dry fly. Well, easy, buddy.
Among fly fishermen, dry fly fishing, when you have that opportunity to catch fish, it's like topwater bass fishing. Man, there is really nothing quite like it. Yes. You know, being up in the Ozarks on the White River is always a lot of fun, but sharing the day with great guides like we had that day, and getting to do something that I love, like fly fishing. I used to do a lot more fly fishing than I've done in recent years. I'm sort of slowly getting back into it, but it was just a lot of fun. And man, you know, we were catching fish just left and right all day long in a variety of different ways. And man, just what a day. What a great day to be on the White River in the Arkansas Ozarks, catching an incredible fish like we did that day.
Arkansas Wildlife is brought to you in part by Arkansas's own PK Grills, maker of the new PK 360, the best and last grill you'll ever buy.
We're at Flyway Brewing Company today. I'm with Jess McMullen. He is one of the co-founders and co-owners of Flyway Brewing. Jess, I see we've got the charcoal going on the PK grill. Tell us what we're going to have today.
We're going to make some smoked trout nachos.
All right, smoked trout nachos.
Mm-hmm.
They actually serve these on the menu here. We're going to take you through the process today, show you how you can do it real easily right at home.
All right. This is Dylan Graves, our kitchen manager here at Flyway, and he has a rainbow trout fillet. And what we do is we use a dry brine of brown sugar, kosher salt, and some other spices, and we put it on the fish for about 8 to 12 hours and let it set up. And it's really important after that, before you put it on the grill, that you rinse it really, really, really well, or it'll be way too salty. So you rinse it and then you let it dry either in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 hours, or you can put it in front of a box fan and it'll cut that time down to about an hour before you put it on the grill. It's really important to set your grill up for indirect fire so that the fish is not getting direct heat. And you can grill it anywhere between 150 to 250 degrees. And get your grill shut quickly so that the fish catches smoke. So the trout's been on the grill for about an hour, just enough time for us to grab a blue wing berry wheat from Flyway, and we'll take a look at it. So it looks pretty nice. It's starting to get some color. The fish will take anywhere between 2 to 4 hours depending on the temperature of your grill. The PK grill's at about 200 degrees right now, so we would probably take it off in about 2 hours. Optimal temperatures is probably about 150 degrees for 4 hours. So we're gonna go ahead and take this off. We've got some trout that's already smoked in the kitchen and going to make some nachos.
All right, our first process of making our trout nachos is making our twist on an old classic of an Arkansas cheese dip. So first we're gonna start, just use a couple Roma tomatoes, a half of a poblano, a half of a medium onion, and just a really nice handful of cilantro. We're also gonna use some garlic powder and some white pepper. And for the cheese, we're gonna use 12 ounces of Velveeta. It's very easy to melt, so it's the best kind of cheese to use for this. Since we got all of our vegetables chopped, all we're gonna do, we're just gonna saute it up in some vegetable oil on a skillet. So we're just gonna add the cheese. So now I'm gonna add our free-range brown ale. Just a small half-ounce ladle. Just about a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of white pepper. So now I'm gonna add the sauteed vegetables to our cheese mixture that we have boiling. And then just give it a really good stir. Get everything mixed. Then you're gonna wait about 5 minutes and then it should be completely melted and easily spreadable. And then whenever you're cutting your trout, you just wanna make sure and cut it into bite-sized pieces. So now we're gonna add cilantro to our cheese dip mixture. Just a nice pinch. Actually, a couple pinches.
So now we're gonna build our nachos. And Dylan's gonna put a nice spread of the cheese dip as the base on the tostadas. And then we're gonna add a handful of Monterey Jack cheese on top of the base. And then we put a piece of trout on 4 different places of the nachos. So we're building individual nachos. Alrighty, and the last thing we do is sprinkle a little bit of lemon pepper on top. All right, and depending on your oven, the nachos can go in under a broiler or just on a preheated bake cycle. And you just want to keep an eye on them. It's probably only about a 5 minute. It's just enough to melt the cheese. All right, so our nachos are ready. They've melted really well, are browned up. So Dylan's gonna pull them off with a knife and cut them to order and put them on the tray. So it's key to put the cheese dip on the bottom to spread it on the chip first, because what that does is it softens up the chip just enough. Not only is it for flavor, but it's also to allow us to cut the chips into 4s like this. So when we plate them up, each order gets 12 individual nachos. When you're doing it at home, you can leave them as a whole nacho if you like. We serve our nachos with Texas caviar, which is a black-eyed pea salsa. And we make Flyway firecrackers, which are spicy carrots, spicy pickled carrots, and then we also have pickled okra. It's as simple as that, and we're ready to eat.
Smoked trout nachos from Flyway Brewing Company, North Little Rock. Jess, Dylan, thank you all so much for cooking these up. I'm gonna go ahead and try one of these now and make sure it's fit to eat. I didn't know you could make trout taste so well. Thanks, guys. Hey, come get some at Flyway, or better yet, now you know how to make them at home. Arkansas Wildlife presents the Watch and Win giveaway.
During each episode of Arkansas Wildlife, we'll give away an Arkansas resident hunting and fishing license, a $35.50 value provided by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Visit the Arkansas Wildlife webpage at agfc.com/Arkansas Wildlife TV and click on the Watch and Win icon to enter.
This week's winner is Dakota Barron from Maumelle. Congratulations and thanks for watching.